Yeah.
Xolani, who is he, and what led you or inspired you to find yourself now being the spokesperson of Gauteng for the JMPD?
Thank you once again for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Xolani Gama is Fihla.
Yes, sir.
Born and bred in Soweto, go Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Stayed in Pimville, Makoko Kwakomfolo.
I
So
see.
I grew up in all those three places. Went to school in schools in around Joburg from the southern. So feeling of what the city of Joburg represents.
I see.
And me getting to where I am, of course, it started through schooling, different avenues and ventures that I've gone into.
Yes, sir.
I started with journalism. I also did sound engineering as well, a bit of photography.
Look at you. Look at that.
Into music, and I love hip hop with all my heart. So even though I'm still a police officer, but hip hop is still in my blood, it's in my veins.
Yes, sir.
But beyond that, then I went to become a Metro police officer. Never thought that I'd ever
End up here.
end up where I am, but basically it's through my dad. My dad, you know, old school generation, when you do the music especially.
Yes.
How are you going to get paid?
I mean, the arts is regarded as one of those careers that
Yeah.
are not, you know, or will be successful for you in the future as an adult. Yes,
Definitely.
sir. Yeah.
So he said, hey, try being a Metro police officer. And at that time I was doing sound engineering. So I said, okay, just to please him, kitla apply.
Yes.
I applied, but I wasn't accepted. And deep down inside, I was like, I know, good shot. Pops, you see, it's not working.
Didn't work out.
But the following year, the post came out again, and he said, no, try your luck again. And I don't know, there was an inclination inside. They said, okay, try and see what's going to happen. I applied, they called me for the physical assessment, I passed. I didn't tell my parents then. Then they called me for the interviews and I passed as well. And that's when I was like, Dad, do you remember when you said I must apply? And he said, yeah. And then I've gone through. He was ecstatic regarding that.
Imagine, of course.
And that's where it started. And through my career, it's been mostly operational.
Yes.
And honestly, I never even thought that I'd be in the space that I'm in. But looking back at the experiences that I've had before being a Metro police officer, I think it is the channel that I was meant to be in. I've always wanted to be on TV, on radio, and look where I am right now.
Look at you. It's so interesting and fascinating to find out that there's such, you know, a history of art that's embedded in you, from hip hop to photography to music as well. You know, and being a lover of radio. You know, because we tend to think that you know, you guys as police officers are just stiff. You know, it's all about policing and law enforcement and enforcing the law and making sure that, you know, things work out the way they should. But we tend to be ignorant, I guess, for lack of a better word, that you guys are also human at the end. And you had a life before you got into law enforcement. And chances are you had other dreams that you might have wanted to fulfill, right? Very, very fascinating. And thus I say that, you know, people might know you or know of you, but not necessarily really a lot of people get the opportunity to learn more about who Xolani is as an individual, you know? So now let's get into, you've gotten into the JMPD, right? And you're progressing and the years are going over and over. You find yourself getting into the space of being the spokesperson, the role that you are currently in as an officer in the JMPD.
Yes.
How do you get to that, and what is the role of the spokesperson for the JMPD ultimately?
Okay. How I got into that, they were looking for media liaisons through different regions within the department.
Yes.
And different units as well. I was approached and we started writing some articles, sending it to the public safety department when they do their news articles. And from there, we were approached by Josie FM. When Para-Obs, I'm not sure if you know Para-Obs, Obs Sabasa, he had left Josie FM then. So they were looking for people who would assist doing traffic updates. And then I started doing that with one of my colleagues, Lindin Toy.
Yes.
And it progressed where then she said, it's not her space, because I was doing the morning breakfast show, and then she was doing the afternoon show. So then it progressed me doing all the shows.
I see.
And from there, then the department actually recognized, when we had a new chief in 2018.
Okay.
Recognized the potential, and he then approached the then spokesperson, Mr. Wayne Minnar. I'm not sure if you're aware of him.
Yes, I've heard the name before.
He approached Wayne. He's like, "Guy, Wayne, this is
the guy we need.
This is the guy that you're going to be working with from now." And honestly, I did learn a lot from Mr. Wayne Minnar. He's a very seasoned and highly professional spokesperson, recognized throughout the country. And one incident that comes into mind, there was a chiefs forum where all the Metro Police chiefs come together.
Okay.
And JMPD was hosting it. And the chief of the Metro Police in Cape Town was also here, and his name is Wayne.
As well.
And then he was like, "Mr. Minnar, it's a pleasure to meet you. You know, everywhere I go, people think I'm you."
Yes, because of the name.
Because of the name.
Yes.
So he is very, very prominent. And fortunately, I got to learn the best of the job from Mr. Wayne Minnar until he retired in 2023. And that's when I was not necessarily officially, but then recognized as the only spokesperson for the department. Until then, I was promoted as well from being an officer to a superintendent. And that's when it became totally official that now I'm the spokesperson for the department.
Cool stuff. Very interesting, very fascinating as well. You know, I always tell the team here that me personally, and I'm sure someone else who's watching and listening out there, you know, could concur with me and relate to me when I say that people's stories are very fascinating. You know, because what we get, for instance, if someone is a regular watcher and a viewer of ours, we see MooCee Kwako radio, you know, from Vooka breakfast show, but they never necessarily get to know my background. You know? And when you come out with all of these things and how you got to the place that you're at, it's always fascinating. You know, all the hurdles that you've gone through and your journey in its entirety now. So now you get to a point where you're the spokesperson, and you know, there's so much scrutiny. I would say across law enforcement as a whole, and not just different units, whether it's SAPS or it's JMPD or EMPD. I feel like across the board in our country, law enforcement always has so much scrutiny surrounding it, right? And misconceptions. What are some of the ones that you have found since you have been being an officer in the department? What are some of the misconceptions that you have recognized or come across, and how do you now, as a department, try to go over them and break them and try to educate, I guess, the Republic that this is not true. This is how things should work, actually.
I think there's two that come to mind. Firstly, the one that Metro Police or police officers are not educated. It's just matric and driving license, you know. We know those are the prerequisite requirements for you to enter into the space. But as my story has unfolded, and maybe the viewers and listeners have been watching, that it's not only about matric and driving licenses. People come with previous experiences and educational qualifications as well. And within the department and the city, they do promote people getting educated, studying further, and for you to progress within the ranks, within the JMPD and any other department in the city. Of course, you need to have better qualifications, have your degrees. We have people with PhDs, we have advocates who are officers, and people will take them lightly on the road just because you're being stopped by this person and he maybe doesn't have a rank. It's just a normal epaulet, and you think, good, it's just an officer. But you'd find that person is actually an advocate. So we do have very learned people within our department. Another big misconception, that one, I wouldn't say it's a misconception as much. It's 50-50 that all Metro Police officers are corrupt. Unfortunately, we do have those bad apples within the ranks, but it's not a majority. With what we have seen, of course, then it paints the whole department or the whole law enforcement fraternity in a bad picture.
With black paint, essentially.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But we do have a lot of good officers who are serving the city of Johannesburg and the residents of Gauteng in totality with pride and dedication. We have officers who go beyond the call of duty, who have assisted ladies giving birth in the streets of Johannesburg, and that takes guts for a person to do that,
as well.
And courage.
Yeah.
So we need to break those misconceptions.
Absolutely.
Of course, we do have those bad apples, as I did said, and there are mechanisms that are put in place within the department for reporting that and make sure that we do take corrective measures. And if a person can't be corrected, then we take punitive measures and remove them from the system. Yeah,
I love how you say that. Yesterday we were in conversation with, I think it was the spokesperson of IPED.
Okay.
And she was shedding light on their role as a department as well, in trying to enforce and ensure that law enforcement officers abide by the rules that they learn and should, I guess, abide by, I guess,
at the end of the day,
entirety, right?
At the end of the day, yeah.
And I was also in conversation with the regional spokesperson, I think, of the NPA.
Okay.
And she was also mentioning some of the things that you are saying that, as public servants, I guess, there's this thing where the general public tends to think that these people are not educated. So how do you guys, as public servant departments and officers, now correlate and work together and try to have so much synergy that that makes sure and entrusts that the greater public is served accordingly to the rules that we abide by as a republic in accordance to the Constitution?
First, I think it's a collaboration. When it comes to any type of civil matter or laws within the country, it's not only the responsibility of a single department or the government by itself as well. We need collaborations within ourselves as government departments, and we've been doing that, working closely with the NPA, with the judiciary system, with the IPED as well, because they can also advise that we do get these complaints. As a department, please look into it and try to address them. And through our internal affairs unit, which is a unit that investigates any misconduct or corruption within the department, they have a proactive unit which then goes out to our various units and regions, and then enlighten and remind officers about their ethical behavior and how to police ethics as well, and how to treat the public and what is expected of you. So we are putting those efforts into place. But also when it comes to collaboration, it's also with the community. That's what's most important, because if we don't have the buy-in of the community, then it becomes a futile exercise. So we need to also go out to the community and remind them that we are here for them. But if they do feel that they have any grievances, they can easily report either anonymously or in whichever way they want to.
They feel comfortable.
And then we as a department have that duty and be accountable that we heed to that call and take a proper action.
And I'm reminded of what we spoke about with the lady from NPA, that they work tirelessly to ensure that they instill so much confidence in the communities and to the public in general, that we are doing our jobs, guys, and we have an open door policy where you can come in, like you just mentioned, and lay those complaints, and we'll take the necessary steps and measures to ensure that this never happens again. You know, very interesting, very interesting. So now, you guys are here at the Rancho this year, right? And with the Rancho comes now even ultimately the weekend that it is, or these 5 days that are celebrating all these kinds of things. We know that there's pilgrimages that are being taken. People are going out of the province. People are coming in the province. It's hectic and it's too busy, right? And we see the visibility. It's there. But what is the role now ultimately in its entirety of the department in ensuring that there's safety on the roads? People are abiding by road rules and are making sure that they display so much of a high level of road safety and all of those things. What is the ultimate role of the department in ensuring that on the roads, even here at the Rancho? Yeah.
We do have operational plans that have been put in place.
Yes.
And especially for a busy period like the Easter season.
Yes.
And through that, we have a visible policing throughout the city of Johannesburg. We know that visibility of police is definitely a deterrent, not only for criminal matters, but for you to abide by the rules of the road. When you do see those blue lights and the yellow and blue car, the orange and blue car, make sure that you've got your seatbelt on. I'm not using the cell phone, so it does become a good deterrent. But secondly, through targeted operations as well, through roadblocks at hotspots where maybe it's been identified as a high crime area, or it's been identified as a spot for many accidents, or for drunken driving as well. So we have those targeted operations as well. But thirdly, it's also collaboration with other law enforcement agencies to make sure that we do have a greater reach throughout the community. One thing, unfortunately, is at our disadvantage. If we are working in silos, we don't have enough manpower. Let's say JMPD only had to deal with issues within the city by itself. We don't have enough boots on the ground to make sure that we do cover the whole city. So we work closely with other departments like the South African Police Services, like the Department of Community Safety in Gauteng, with the traffic wardens Amapanyaza, but also with the Gauteng Traffic Police as well, so that we do have a greater reach throughout the city and the province. And thirdly is through educational campaigns. We are going out to the JMPD has a community outreach unit which goes out and does educational campaigns, awareness campaigns as well, to highlight road safety, but also to highlight any other issues that we are having within the city of Johannesburg. And last but not least, it goes back to collaboration with communities, having community engagements and finding out their challenges, and as us as the JMPD and other entities and departments within the province, making sure that we do deal with those issues. Easter period, definitely very, very busy on our roads. So that's why we are encouraging people to be safe. And statistically, it has been proven that we do see a lot of fatal or serious accidents happening during this period. So with those mechanisms that are put in place, making sure that we do reduce fatalities and making sure that people are safe as well and abide to the rules of the road and the laws of the country.
Now let's talk the role now that you are solely playing here at the Rancho, right? And with even outside of the exhibition that we are seeing on our screens right now, right? Because I see so many public offices and public services being exhibited at Hall 5, if I'm correct, right?
Correct.
You guys are out there, you're exhibiting, but what is the ultimate role? Because there's so much visibility even outside, like you mentioned. And I guess the general one that, or what someone would maybe perhaps describe as the obvious one, is visibility in terms of just to try and ensure that safety is there and people are adhering to the rules. But over and above that, the role of the JMPD here specifically at the Rancho, what is it? Because I saw even yesterday the choir was here and some high-ranking officers were also here. So what is the role? Because someone is here at the Rancho wanting to have fun and is seeing you guys and is wondering, what is Xolani doing here? You should be out there ensuring that there is safety over this period on the roads and stuff like that. But you guys are here at the Rancho coming to enjoy. So how do we make sure that the people have the correct information and knowledge with regards to the role that you guys are playing during this period and your stay at the Rancho?
Yes, I think it goes back to our community engagement and public participation. So we are essentially here at the Rancho to showcase what the JMPD and the City of Johannesburg Public Safety Department is all about. It's trying to break those misconceptions for one, but also enlighten our community of the different roles and different units that we have within the JMPD, because most people would say JMPD and say Kidi Traffic Corp, they only stop cars cars and bangwala ditigiti. But our roles are bigger than that. When it comes to the JMPD and any other Metro Police Department in the country, we have 3 core functions, which is crime prevention, traffic management or traffic enforcement, and bylaw management or bylaw enforcement as well. So with the community coming to the RAN show, they'll get to learn more about that. We've got our events management unit. It is a unit that works closely with the city JOC, and when people want to host events within the city of Johannesburg.
Yes.
So we are here to teach people what are the proper processes, because people sometimes
without informing,
without informing the city, but not knowing how there's certain processes that you need to follow, not just to be harsh on you, but to follow.
It's to ensure safety, I guess.
To ensure safety at the end of the day. And it goes back to past events where people have been hurt and who would be accountable for that. And responsible for that. So those processes are put into place that we avoid any people getting hurt, but also following the safe strict measures and people of being safe. We've also got our anti-corruption unit, which is the internal affairs unit, where people can then report any misconduct or corruption within our offices. We've got our alcohol evidence centers. Those they deal with the drunken driving roadblocks that we see on a daily basis within the city of Johannesburg. And to highlight drunken driving, unfortunately, it is one of our biggest concerns, because on a week-to-week basis, we arrest over 100 motorists for driving under the influence of alcohol. You know, Renalo rata these statistics, and when you see that we've arrested 100 people, and it becomes great, and especially if it's for crime prevention. But when it comes to drunken driving, then it shows that people are not heeding to that call, and people are still partaking in that dangerous activity. So we are heeding to people that please don't drink and drive. The consequences of that is either being involved in a serious or fatal accident or being arrested, and then you might have a criminal record, and it'll impede you of having further future job opportunities. So we are pleading for people to avoid that. But the other units that are here as well from the JMPD, we've got our community outreach unit, which is responsible for the education and awareness campaigns, and we're also joined with our licensing department. So if you want to renew your driving license, if you want to renew your license disc as well, you have the perfect opportunity to do so here at the RAN show, and also pay for outstanding traffic, because
someone might be here. You know, I was telling our content producer earlier before you arrived here that my license recently, as recent as February, for the second time expired now. You know, and I heard that you guys are out here also doing that process of license renewals and disc renewals and things of, and paying your tickets,
your traffic fines.
Yes, your traffic fines. But as you can see on the screen right now, you know, our team is out there showcasing some of the things that you have here as the exhibition for the JMPD. So I was about to ask, because someone is listening and watching and seeing your guys' presence and saying, Xolani, can I come and renew my license for free? So the process is still the same as if I were to go to your offices. It's just that now here you're bringing it to the people, as opposed to the people having to come to you guys. Very cool stuff. You mentioned now public safety. And like I said, you know, we were in conversation with various departments and offices, right, that also have the role of serving the greater Republic and the general society. Public safety now doesn't only involve you guys. You mentioned that there are other departments and offices that you work collaboratively with, right? How do you guys do that? And what are some of these other entities that form part of the public safety, I guess, umbrella, right? Because we only know, it's just JMPD, and public safety is ensuring road safety or crime prevention. But it's more vast now that you mentioned. How do you educate, and what are some of those entities that you guys also work with very closely?
Public safety, it encompasses different departments, not only the JMPD. I think people are aware of the JMPD.
Yes.
They are aware of EMS, which is the emergency
we also
management
had a conversation with them.
services. But we've got other departments. I did mention licensing. Licensing falls under public safety. We've got disaster management as well, which is a department that is very critical and important, and especially within the dynamics of the city of Johannesburg. They are the ones who can actually warn people regarding if having thunderstorms or heavy rains, and what precautionary measures people should be taking if we are going to be having tremors that like we have been having within the city of
in
Johannesburg.
The recent years, and very often so.
True, and they can then detect that is this tremor going to be at a certain Richter scale, and people need to evacuate a certain place. But also if disasters do happen, like having informal settlements being set alight, so they are there to assist those people with relief systems. So and we've also got the Intelligence Integrated Operational Center, which is responsible for the CCTV cameras and surveillance within the city of Johannesburg. And that department works closely then with the JMPD, but not only the JMPD, other law enforcement agencies within city of Johannesburg and other entities within the city as well. Not only checking for crime, but if streets are infested with illegal dumping, then they'll be able to tell departments like Pick It Up that on a certain street we can see that people are dumping. Can you please get units or teams to come clean that up? JRA, if there are potholes, if street lights are not working. So it encompasses a lot of entities within the city of Johannesburg. But then when it comes to definite crime prevention, then it works closely with the JMPD.
But then because I'm picking up 5 now that you mentioned, right? There's the JMPD, there's the EMS, there's disaster management,
licensing,
and
then the IIOC.
You mentioned that off camera that it's integrated intelligence operational center. I've never heard of that personally. Someone who's watching and listening out there has never heard of IIOS. How closely do you work with all of these other 4 entities, and what is the process that you guys take to ensure that public safety is experienced at a high-ranking level and functionality? Because one might think that JMPD doesn't work that closely with EMS. We only see them if there's a very fatal accident. And one of the representatives we had here, I forget her name, but she was mentioning that she is an advanced life support officer, right, within the EMS. So how closely do you work with these other 4 entities to ensure that there's high functionality, at an operational level, and also to describe what the IOS is and its role within the 5 entities as an umbrella body?
For one, as the 5 different departments, we report under one head, which is the head of Department for Public Safety. We also have one political head who is the member of the mayoral committee responsible for public safety in the city of Johannesburg. And I think having those heads, it helps us to coordinate our efforts, ensuring that public safety is a well-run department. But when it does come to either emergencies or service delivery issue matters, then we work closely with each and every department. As you did say that with the EMS, if there's fatal accidents or serious accidents, we are there together, ensuring that the scene for us as JMPD is secured and for them to take care of any injured persons. But and then it goes beyond that as well. Building inspections, we go together there. If they're checking for illegals, puzzle shops, we go with them there as well. And when it comes to disaster management, of course, if there is any preempted disaster that might happen, then we would coordinate any methods, either maybe closing off roads and making sure that people are evacuated from a certain place. Then we work closely with them. And then with licensing, it's you can say it's our twin department, because licensing then deals with motorists and vehicles which are on the road. And we, as people who are enforcing, either a vehicle doesn't have a valid license disc or a driver doesn't have a valid driving driving license. So it is important for us to coordinate that as well. But when it comes to the integrated integrated intelligence operational center, the IIOC, it goes back to surveillance and whatever criminal activities that are happening in the city of Johannesburg, that we do have quick responses and people are brought into book. We have recovered close to 500 vehicles.
Wow.
I say from last year in August 2024 was over 500 vehicles, over 65 people that have been arrested, and they have a close working relationship with Vooka, where we've signed a memorandum of understanding with them. We know that our cameras as the city, not all of them are operational at the moment, but Vooka has close to or over 6,000 cameras, and with us tapping into that network, they will make sure that we've got an eye across the city of Johannesburg. And with Vooka partnership, it is important because they have highly sophisticated systems which can
in place,
which can detect number plates, which can they've also got artificial intelligence which can detect facial recognition as well. And with that, let's say a vehicle has been picked up that it has been used in commission of a crime in Southgate. Their cameras can pick that up, and the vehicle is moving maybe in Sandton. Does pick that up, that that vehicle that was in Southgate is now in Sandton, and then operational officers are then deployed to make sure that we intercept that vehicle, and whoever is in that possession of that vehicle is then brought into book. So that's how close this relationship is with the IIOC, but also with the partnership with Vooka.
Yeah, very interesting. Because there's this, and I stand to be corrected. Of course, you'll enlighten me on this one. But if memory serves well, there was a new thing that was signed and approved to be enforced now as a law that as a citizen, if I have I guess, for lack of a better word, a surveillance camera at my house, right? But that is facing my entrance, the entrance of my yard. You guys now, I guess by law, allowed to come and want to tap into that. Should now that in the incident that something might have happened 5 houses away from my house, and my surveillance caught that, right? Now I have to register that I have a surveillance camera that's facing my entrance, but also picking up things that are happening on the road as part of public or government government property, I guess, right? Why should I now disclose that I have that? Because and now I'm trying to play devil's advocate. I could say that, Xolani, this is private property. This is privately owned equipment and surveillance. Why should I need to disclose to the government that I have this in operation?
The city of Johannesburg, the council has approved the CCTV bylaw.
Yes.
So it has been promulgated by the Johannesburg City Council. But with that, it goes back to community engagement and collaboration. As we did say that it's not only the responsibility of government alone to be dealing with matters of crime and public safety. So we also need a buy-in from the community as well. And you having those registered cameras and not necessarily facing your public property, but facing the roads, it will ensure that if anything does happen, then we do get evidence, we do get that footage, and make sure that people are brought to book as quick as possible. We've seen with the partnership with Vooka how it has helped, and how we've been able to tap into those systems. Rapidly so. Quick responses as quicker prosecutions. And with us having that buy-in within the community as well, we make sure that we do have a holistic approach when it comes to crime and prevention and law enforcement as well.
I love that. I love that so much. So you touched base on the CCTV that is around the city of Johannesburg, mostly because when we went to the exhibition there, we saw that it is mostly in the CBD. Right? And Now, how do you guys ensure that the greater public is knowledgeable about this? Now, we're talking accessibility now, right? Because someone might say it goes against my right, or I can't be surveilled as a citizen going about my day-to-day business, walking around or driving around.
Yeah, or the Puppy Act as well.
Yes, do you get what I'm trying to say? Yes. So how do you guys ensure that there's accessibility and knowledge that is given to the public and individuals going about their businesses, that you should be aware that there is surveillance in certain areas of the city, and this is not something that we're doing by ourselves, but it's something that's been gazetted and eventually got to a point of being approved, and ensuring them of the operational side of it, how it works, what the purpose of the CCTV is, and how it eventually gets to a point where it works and is beneficial for us as the general public.
When it comes to the law, of course, before a bylaw is gazetted, it needs to be promulgated to the city council, but there also needs to be public participation as well, where people are then given presentations and also giving an explanation on how this process is going to work. So there has been some public participation with people being given presentations, but I think it also goes back to us enlightening the public with shows like The Rand Show, where people can then understand and see what is the greater need of us having these systems and us being able to tap into a greater, larger network of us being able to surveillance the city of Johannesburg, and us having those systems in place will make sure that people firstly are aware and they do participate. But at the end of the day, we can't force people, so we do need their participation at the end of the day.
I love that. I love that. And effectiveness now.
Yeah.
Because we touched on accessibility. Now, effectiveness of these systems that you guys are putting in place, right? Because we know that we're living in a society and a world now, and a time that is so technologically driven, right? And there's things like AI that are coming into place, and the world and the times are changing, and there's evolvement with almost everything else, that makes us go by our day-to-day life, and all of these things are aimed at making yours and my life easier, right? How effective are these systems that you guys are putting in place as the 5 entities, especially working in collaboration with each other, trying to be a collective, that entrust that all of these things are put into place and are beneficial for the Republic, like I mentioned, and for the public. But how effective are they? Does it go through a process where you guys, pilot it and see if it will be beneficial and it will operate at a high level high functioning level, or is it a thing that you guys just roll out and go with it and wing it and see if it will work or if it doesn't?
Logically, we need to do things like piloting, having feasibility studies to ensuring that things do work out. So with that, and especially when it does come to the cameras, that's why at the present moment, most of them are situated within the Johannesburg inner city.
Yeah.
We do have some of our cameras as the city of Johannesburg on Vilakazi Street. But with that and feasibility studies, people are now interested and asking, why are cameras only in the CBD? Why are they on Vilakazi alone? So now it does show that there is interest when it comes to that. But technology is important, and we need to move on and advance and be up to date with how the world is moving. And some of the systems that we also want to put in is body cameras as well, with complaints that we are getting. So it is easier to track movements and actions of officers, but also vindicate officers when they come into compromising situations. Because at most times when there is any, let's say, an altercation between officers and members of the public, the public will only take out the camera once an officer or something has happened.
Is now being shown in the light of being in the wrong.
And we only see one side of the story. So at least having body cameras will then tell both sides of the story.
Of the situation,
and then we can take greater and further action regarding that. But also we want to move on to a paperless system when it comes to writing tickets.
Ticket issuing.
So at the present moment, we have acquired devices which have been approved by the Director of Public Prosecution prosecutions, but we are piloting at the moment. So not all officers are having these devices. You can check a driver's license. You just scan it. It shows you all the details. If the driver's license has expired, or maybe it's a fake one, so it won't read in the system. That system can also check for valid license discs. Can also check for any outstanding traffic fines as well. So that is the method and the way that we want to move forward. But before we can implement those, we need to pilot them first and see if they are working. And if we do get a greater response, like with the cameras, then we can have a greater rollout. But then with the cameras, then we've partnered with Vooka, who have a greater, larger network within the city.
And infrastructure that they've already put into place.
So it makes it easy for us to reach greater, larger citizens within the city of Johannesburg.
Very interesting, very educational as well, very enlightening, So now let's talk about in closure now. You guys are out here at the Rancho. You guys are very visible within the city, during this period of Easter. How do I now, as a citizen, I know about you, I've been stopped by traffic officers on the roads, but how do I get in touch with someone like Xolani, for instance, or just the department in itself, in trying to inquire about various things, or if I want to eventually join the department and all those processes? Is it a social media thing? Do I need to go to the offices in person? Do I check on the internet and stuff like that? Let's touch base on that a bit.
There's various ways getting in touch with the department. We've got social media pages on Facebook and on X as well.
Yes, sir.
And then we do have landline numbers and numbers where people can call to get in touch or find out any information within JMPD.
Yes, sir.
And also we've got our physical offices through all the regions in the city of Johannesburg where people can walk in and find out any or have inquire about any inquiries that they might have.
So I'm assuming that this is an open door policy now.
Yes, we definitely do have an open door policy.
Very cool stuff. Mr. Xolani, I appreciate.
Thank you.
I appreciate you've shared so much knowledge and information, and you've debunked some of these misconceptions that we have at the general public. And we appreciate your time, because I know it might not have been the easiest of things. You mentioned that off camera, you guys are doing so much here at the Rancho. It's not just about being visible and coming to showcase and exhibit, but it's also about trying to give so much knowledge and information to the general public and inviting them as well to say, come in, we want your participation. We want to collaborate with you guys, and entrusting that we have a high functioning level of crime prevention, of abiding by the rules on the roads, and all of these things that the JMPD is involved in. Thank you, we appreciate, man, and hopefully we can have an extensive conversation about these other things that you guys might also want to shed some light on, and ultimately educate and inform the public in its entirety. So thank you. We appreciate it.
No, thank you so much.
That was Xolani Fihla hanging out with us right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show, brought to you by the Blinko Network, of course, for this weekend in collaboration with How Batla Media Networks. And he was just informing us and educating us and shedding some light on all of the involvement they have in these various spaces with regards to the greater city of Johannesburg. And, it was such an interesting conversation where we learned a bit more about the CCTV or CC surveillance systems that are being rolled out, in various spaces of the country, or rather of the city, and breaking all of these misconceptions that you and I might have had with regards to misinformation that's been shared out, and it was interesting and it was fascinating. This is what we do here out at the Rancho 2025, taking place at the Johannesburg Nasrec Expo Center. So with that being said, we've been talking for a while, and let you and I take a very quick break, run to the loo, grab a glass of water, and we'll see each other right after this. Cool stuff.